Philadelphia. I'm Dr. Gloria Lattimore Peace, host and producer of OmniU Presents the H3O Art of Life show. The title of this show is Young at Art, the Next Generation. The next voice you hear will be the golden voice of May Ya Carter.
It's a new day. It's a new life for me. Yes, it is. No feeling good. What am I feeling? Feeling good. Sweet woman. Oh, woman. I did you wrong, my heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay, and now I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Mistakes, and I've made a few, but I'm only human. You've made mistakes too, and now I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. Ooh, la la la. I'm just about at the end of my road, but I can't stop trying. I can't give up, 'cause I feel one day I'll hold you near, whisper I still love you, until that day is here, and now I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. I love you, I love you, I love you, but I hurt you so, but I love you.
So delighted to have Maya Carter with me to talk to her about her golden voice and the golden career that lies ahead of her. I'm thinking she might be a little bit fatigued because she's already been on another major channel today. How are you feeling?
Good.
You're feeling good. Well, that was your first song. You're feeling good and you're still feeling good. All right, tell me something about yourself. You're 11?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been 11?
For a couple of months.
A couple of months. You've been 11 many times before. You're an old soul. Are you in school now?
No, I start school on Tuesday.
Okay, you start school on Tuesday. All right, what grade will you be in?
6.
In the 6th grade. All righty, now let's talk about some of these awards that you won. This one is the first place winner of the Gatorade Presents Dr. Wade's Chicago Has Talent Showcase.
Dwayne Wade.
Well, it says D. Wade, and I just read that as Dr. Dwayne Wade, the basketball player. Okay, Chicago Has Talent Showcase 2012, this year. And you won the first prize? I wonder how you did that. Probably because you were the most talented person there. How long have you had this gift?
For 3 years now.
For 3 years? How did you find it?
When I was 8.
You were singing to yourself? How did you discover yourself?
Well, I asked my mother for voice lessons.
Okay.
And she said, sure, may I give you voice lessons? And she had no intentions of me giving it to me.
Really? So did you take any voice lessons?
No, until I was 8.
Okay.
And then I started singing, and my mother heard me sing. A whole year went by, and my mother heard me sing.
All right. And what about the piano playing? That's not voice lessons. How'd you learn how to do that?
I learned how to play piano at 4.
Okay, because you had a piano and you just went there and...
Yes, my mother, they already had a piano, and she said that somebody has to play this piano. It's not just gonna go on decoration.
Okay. So you had to go and learn to play the piano? You took piano lessons?
Yes.
Okay. Do you enjoy what you do? It's not a chore?
No, but sometimes it gets really tiring.
I can imagine. How did you choose the music that you perform?
Well, I forgot I was going to do one song called Lullaby of Birdland.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just did that last.
Okay. But the music that you sing, these are music of generations long before you were born. So of all the music that you've heard, that music resonates, you love that music, that feels like you. So you like Nina Simone, apparently, because you sang her song. And maybe you like Sarah Vaughan. Who else? Who are your favorites?
I like Etta James.
Of course, I
like
like Etta
Aretha
James
Franklin.
too. Aretha Franklin. You like anything by Ella Fitzgerald?
I really don't well, I listen to her, but I don't really know her songs that well.
Okay, well, you want to learn some Ella Fitzgerald songs just for me.
Tell them about the award you got.
I won an award with a jazz camp, Miles Davis's jazz camp.
Well, what about this award right here, the one that I can't reach? Pick it up for me and tell me what it's for.
This award is from the Chicago Music Awards. They had a segment. It was their first year doing it, and I got this award because I was an emerging star and I won first place also.
Emerging, my foot. You are fully emerged. You're not emerging. You are here, darling. I started to call you a legend, but I think you're a bit young to be called a legend. And diva is so overused, I'm never going to call you a diva. But I will call you a legend. And when you come back on the show, by that time you'll be a legend because everybody wants to hear you and watch you perform. I want to talk to your mother because I know this is a major responsibility, Mom, to have this gifted child.
Okay. Yes, it is. I want to say something about how she started with this music. Unfortunately, my mom passed in 2006. And ever since I was a little girl, my father had always been an avid jazz listener and tried to play. And he had a library of music, and he forced us to listen to jazz. We couldn't listen to soul music in his presence. So when he passed, and then my mom passed, um, we decided to do um, a jazz CD with some of her favorite music. And it wasn't just jazz, it was some just great singers
Just
on it.
great music.
So I would play these songs. She was 4.5 at the time, and I would play these songs over and over and over again. If I was in the car, if I was in the home, just for years. And I had no idea she was really listening. I mean, really, really listening. And so when she was 7, she came and she asked me would I give her voice lessons. And I said, sure, I'll give you voice lessons. But as she said, I really had no intentions because she was already taking piano. I said, and I made a mistake because at that point I should have listened to her. Was like, can you sing? Let me hear you. But I didn't. And an entire year went by, and she was singing her little heart out. And I heard her. She was upstairs on the 2nd floor, and I was in the kitchen. And I said, oh my God, she can actually sing. And my mouth fell open. So I called her downstairs, and I said, Maya, you're singing? She said, yes. I said, you can sing. She said, yes. Like, where have you been? And so I said, well, I've got to do something about this. But I couldn't find a school to accept her. At the time, she was at Sherwood for piano, and they told me no, because at this time she was 8 and she might damage her vocal cords, and they didn't want to be responsible for that. And that's the same thing that Merritt School of Music told me. And so I couldn't find anyone. I called a few other places, and they were like, no. So I went on the internet, and I found a voice trainer. So I became her first voice instructor.
Okay.
But soon after that, in October of that year, that's when I found a voice trainer, and she trained with him for 2 months, and unfortunately we had to stop, and I didn't find another voice trainer until June of the following year. But we kept going at home, and her voice would just change every couple of months. It was a new voice, literally every couple of months, and her voice is still changing. It gets higher and it gets deeper.
Because she's got all these octaves hidden over in there, all this range. It's marvelous. I know that Debra Hand was so excited when she saw you perform, and she couldn't wait for me to see you. Tell me, Deborah, your impression of Maya.
Well, before I even speak on Maya's talent, I really have to commend Dwayne Wade, Tregill Wade, and the Wade's World Foundation, because while Dwayne plays basketball in Miami, he's very concerned with the kind of influences the children are getting here and the support systems. And so they make a very big sacrifice every year. The foundation has programming that goes on and on, but every year he has a weekend, and that weekend is devoted to children, to cultivating them, to finding their talents and so forth. And so the event I attended was his Wade's Chicago's Got Talent at the Chicago Theater. And that's where I saw this young lady for the first time. And it just blew my mind. But it really, really brought home the idea that we do, just like the Wade's World Foundation has done, we do have to just seek out the talent in our community and make sure that it is showcased on the level that it should be on, because obviously most media, their coverage of us is not about our greatness or our talent. And so we just have to make sure we do that for ourselves. So I applaud Dwayne Wade's organization. I applaud Jazz Unites, because when I first talked to her mother, I said, oh, you have to meet Geraldine DeHaas and blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, we did the Jazz Fest this year, but I got
Jazz
there.
Unites.
Right, the Jazz Unites Jazz Fest at South Shore. But I got there late this year, so I didn't get a chance to see her. But when I did see her, it really took me back to the first time I saw Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, because I saw them before he was famous. And I really had the unique pleasure of watching them for very closely for about 2 weeks, because I was involved in a talent show that was taking place at the Capitol. So we would all have to be there rehearsing. So sometimes it would just be the people that were part of the talent show in the audience. And I would just see them perform over and over. And every time he performed, you know, I was about 13 years old, but it was like seeing the eighth wonder of the world or something. I just knew I was in the presence of something that a great force on this earth. And when I saw her perform, it just took me right back to that feeling, like, what's to come of this, as Oscar Brown Jr. would often say. What is to come of this? Because her power, her talent, her potential, but also her sense of herself and her command. I mean, this is just such an unusual child. And so anything that I can ever do to help her mom, her, or whatever, you know, there were a few technical needs, and that's sort of how I got involved, as well as trying to make sure that you knew about her, because I knew you would give her this generous showcase. So
it didn't take much to convince me, and you know, your story is the Dr. Burroughs. You know, that's why I call it the next young at art, the next generation. You know, when you first got started publicly, Dr. Burroughs embraced you, and she introduced you,
right.
And she made certain that people knew who you were and knew how she valued your work. And so now we want to make sure that people know who Maya is, who Maya is. We want to make sure that they value not only your work, but we want them to value you. This is a precious treasure. Yes. And we have to protect her. She has to be guarded. You know, I think she ought to go to school in a Brinks truck. You know, I really think that, you know, we have to recognize when we have a rare jewel among us. We have a lot of talented young people. Make no mistake, we have a lot of talented young people. But we don't always have talented young people who have this kind of talent and the poise and the confidence. When I asked you, were you nervous? How did you feel? You weren't a bit nervous. And I presume that when you went on Channel 9 this morning, you weren't feeling nervous then either. You didn't look a bit nervous because you have confidence in your gift. It is yours, and you know it, and you embrace it. And it's good to see you do that. And
can I say
yes,
something?
Of course.
Also, when she was 8, she came to me and she said, "Mother," she said, "I want to sing jazz." And I turned around and I looked down at her. And I said, "What did you just say?" And she answered me like, "You heard what I just said." It was that type of thing. She said, "I said, like, duh, I want to sing jazz, gospel, and some pop like Whitney Houston."
Well, you know, I've heard I've heard more than one person say that she sounds like Mahalia Jackson. But when I closed my eyes as she performed, I heard Anita Baker in there. I heard Mahalia in there. I heard Sarah Vaughan in there. I hear sounds that are familiar to me that comes out of our whole history of black music. I hear every voice all of those that are in that range, all those contraltos, all those smooth, soulful singers that I learned to love. And I liked that same kind of music as a young person. I really think that you were wise to choose that kind of music. We got 1 million people doing pop music, so you can explore that from time to time. But I think that to preserve that aspect of our culture is so important, and it's so wonderful of you to want to do that for us. And Mom, she said she wants to sing jazz music.
I know.
Deborah, did you want to say?
Another thing that really greatly, it just struck me is that her performance during that talent show, it brought down the house. And that Chicago theater was packed, and it was packed with young people. So you wouldn't expect for them to respond to her the way they did, but they were screaming as if the Beatles, well, probably these children don't know anything about
Jackson's Fives.
Any great entertainer. They were,
Mindless
they were
behavior.
so
Right.
excited by her performance. I mean, the cheers were deafening. There was a standing ovation. And so that really teaches you something about the range of our children. Like, they just have this bubblegum kind of stuff, you know, cranking out of the radios and the media at them all day, and they're sort of they package up these stars and with, you know, and they say this is greatness, and then they put them everywhere so you can't avoid it, and the children buy into that. But though that audience, they saw real greatness, and they were overwhelmed. And I can't imagine how many young people she inspired, because she did something so different. And then to bring an appreciation for a music to that generation. Like, if you look at her and you know, as a person who might sign acts or promote or whatever, if someone said this 11-year-old does jazz, you would sort of wonder, well, where's her market niche? But it's not a market niche. She's a game changer. She is a game changer. She is bringing something to a generation that they are so thirsty for, you know, and she's educating them about the beauty of our culture, because, you know, that's real music. Jazz is real music. It's not something anybody can just jump up and duplicate, and it's not something you can sort of put these components into a machine and then crank them out one after the other like they do the pop stars of today. Any number of them can be replaced by any other child in the room. You don't even have to really have a singing ability. So this, like I said, to see young people that excited about what she was doing, that just struck everybody. But I heard people say from her first 2 notes, I think there were about 18 acts or something like that on the talent show.
Yes.
After 2 notes, and I did it too, I turned to my granddaughter, I said she won. And you could just see people, I mean, people were just amazed.
That's true. There was a little child that the child said after she sang because she sang part of Feeling Good.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add that song by Nina Simone is a song that she learned, but she rearranged the song. That's not how Nina sings it. So she made it her own.
None of those songs were like the original artist.
She also rearranged the musical version into her own.
Well, I saw what she did with Etta James.
And a little girl goes after she kind of laughs in the song. She says, "Ha, let's jam." This little girl, she says, she won, Mama.
The kids, the little
And
bitty
then
babies.
What was so interesting to me is kids were saying, "Mama, can you take me to her show?" Which we haven't talked about. But Maya does have a show coming up November the 10th. It's called An Afternoon with Maya and some of her friends. And her friends are other children that play the saxophone, the drums, the piano,
Where
violin.
will it be? Have you chosen a venue?
Yes, it's going to be at DuSable Museum
Wonderful.
at 3 p.m. And she's going to do an array of music, which of course will be jazz. She sings beautiful, but there's going to be some pop music. She's going to do Alicia Keys' Empire State, and we have a rapper that was also in that same contest that's going to do Jay-Z's part. So it's going to be very interesting. She's going to do one Broadway song, one classical song, one gospel song, a couple of neo-soul songs, and jazz. And in between that, the other kids will have the opportunity to show their craft also.
Right. Well, you know, I think that's so wonderful. How do you feel about your audiences? Do you feel warm? Do you feel as though you're loved? How do you feel about the people who are cheering you on?
At the Dwayne Wade talent show, after everybody was cheering, I felt so warm, and I felt like I was at home.
Very good. So you are getting something, you're giving something, and you're getting something in return. Your audience is loving you, and you're loving them, and it's all one big happy family. Well, you should get that because there's a lot of practice. I'm sure you do a lot of practicing and a lot of listening to music to decide what you're going to perform. I'll be at that show. November what?
November 10th.
Is that a Sunday?
That's a Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon,
3
DuSable
p.m.
Museum.
at DuSable Museum.
Right.
And the tickets you can go online.
You can't talk about. We can't talk about the
Okay.
price of anything, but you do have a website, don't you?
Yes.
There's a www.
Maya, the Golden Voice.
MAEYA, the Golden Voice.com.
Yes.
Okay, so
And
people can go on.
I mentioned that she also has Twitter.
Well, of course you can mention she has Twitter. We can mention everything but something commercial. We just can't do commercial stuff.
That's at Maya_T. That's her Twitter address. So it's MAE capital YA_T.
All right.
That's her Twitter
Okay.
address.
So that's how to. You know what? In a minute you're going to need a staff.
Well,
Because
she had
you know
one today, didn't she?
you're gonna well today I had to trot out my whole family to make sure that everything was prepared so that you would be able to just concentrate on delivering us a fine performance. And you are a fine performing artist. I don't want to call you any of those things that other people get called. I don't want to call you a songstress, a singer, a vocalist. You are a performing artist. You play the piano, you compose and arrange your music, you do the arrangements of your songs, and you are a fine performing artist, and I know that you can only get better over time. Now, I hope your homework won't suffer, because you know you're getting ready to get in those really hard grades, the 6th and the 7th and the 8th, and then high school. And Mom, you know, if you did some vocal stuff, now you might have to do some tutoring stuff.
Yes.
Yes, help you to keep up with your homework. And anytime you get into any kind of difficulty, just sing to the principal, and they'll let you off.
I never got in trouble.
Are you well behaved? Really?
Yeah.
Mom, she's well behaved as well.
Very
She's not a
well
brat?
behaved. No.
You don't throw tantrums?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, Mom, you have to make sure that she's happy, even though I know sometimes that may not be easy to do, because she might want to stay up later than she should.
For sure.
Not do the bedtime thing. Okay. I love you. I really do. And you know, we have more in common than you know, because Debra's maiden name is Carter. She is Debra Carter Hand, and I was Gloria Carter. You see,
That's just a
so we got to
coincidence.
go look at this family tree, because I know, you know, all children are my children, so I claim them all. But anytime they have my same last name, one of my same last names, then I know that we are a lot closer than meets the eye. So I'll be looking into that to see how well connected we really are. Mom, I salute you. I commend you for being the support. I know that being a quote stage mom cannot be easy, because you have got to. You're the chauffeur.
I hate
What are
that
you?
term.
You're the administrative assistant.
Management team.
You're the
Yes.
you're all things. You're the girl Friday. You have to do it all.
And can I say one other thing?
Yes.
She, America's Got Talent turned her down 3 times. And
I know why.
when we went there, I said, "Oh, Maya, you gotta practice." And so people thought it was me singing, but some people were saying, "That is not that woman singing. That's that little girl singing." So finally, someone asked me, "Were you singing?" I said, "No, that's my baby that was singing." And they were going, I told you. And then when we finally got into the audition, the guy, he was from Great Britain, he says, "Absolutely fantastic. You were just fantastic." And then they said, "Mom, what is make sure we have your right email address." And I gave it to them, and everyone was so positive that she would be chosen, because this was her second time. This was in October, but she wasn't chosen. So the third time was this June. We sent in an email address, an email interview, because they have this thing with YouTube where you can audition. And I thought, well, maybe if I have her sing one of the songs that they selected, which was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and she still didn't get chosen. Then she had auditioned for Annie, the Broadway version of Annie. They come to Chicago, which was their last stop. They kept her in the room for about 45 minutes singing, where they would keep other little girls like 5 or 10 minutes. Even if they liked them, they kept her for about 45 minutes, and they kept coming back and forth, and finally they said, "Mom, you're going to hear from us." After about 2 weeks, I said, "No, she didn't get it." And after about 6 weeks, they sent a letter letting me know they regret. And then I'd sent her into the Ellen DeGeneres show. I had sent her into Today's Voice for the Kids on Channel 5, and everything was no, no, no. So my friend says, "Ina, she's as good as any of those kids. Why don't you do her show?" I said, "I can't do that because I don't know how." But I kept it in the back of my mind. And so about 2 weeks later, I said, "You know, she's right. I'm going to come up with a show for her." And that's where I decided to do the show for her. And this show is not going to be just a show where tickets are sold. There's going to be different producers and record labels, and Disney is going to be invited. I'm hoping to be able to invite someone from T.D. Jakes' camp, as well as Tyler Perry's camp. Different entertainment attorneys and accountants will be invited to this show. Also, not for them just to look at my daughter, but to look at the other children also, hoping that something will big come out of it.
Let me tell you what I think is the reason why she didn't get on some of these shows. If you have a show where you have to have people competing and they have to go over a certain number of weeks because the show is based upon a season and you've got to keep the audience interested, they can't know who the winner is on the first show. You see?
Right.
Now, when Debra said the first 2 notes out of her mouth, she turned to somebody and said she won. Well, how are you going to keep a show for a season when the clear winner is the clear winner from the moment they first begin to perform? So she doesn't belong in that venue. She does
Well,
not be. This is a unique talent, and she has to be treated like that. She can't be treated like I'm trying to find out if I'm as good as or better than somebody. We've got to all know that this is a unique and very special gift, and that it is, it won't meet the commercial aspect of show business, because they've got to have longevity. They've got to keep people in suspense. They got to keep people thinking. I've been watching a gospel show, and they've been eliminating folks, and people are trying to figure out who's going to get eliminated in this time. There's no suspense. So the suspense factor is gone when this child performs.
It's so funny you say
Ella
that.
Fitzgerald said when she went to the Apollo to perform, she was going to dance, but somebody before her danced so well, she decided that she would sing. It hadn't occurred to her to sing in the first place. And when she sang, she was the audience embraced her and told her, this is where you are, this is your gift. The audiences have told her who she is. We already know.
Right.
So it's very important that you get the right manager, that you don't run out and sell her off to the highest bidder, because you might live to regret it. You have to be careful, because we don't want to watch this child change into something that's not recognizable. We don't want to watch them modify her in order to make her commercial so that they can make money. We want her to be able to maintain the genuine gift that she has. That must be a priority, Mom.
Yes.
And she won't want for nothing, as we say in the community.
Well, it's funny what you just said. She has a mentor who has invested greatly in her. His name is Bruce Thompson, and he said to me, Ina, I knew she wouldn't get the role of Annie, but I thought she could be Annie's little chocolate orphan friend. And he said, I doubt if they're going to find a little white girl to out-sing her. So they usually do not have a co-star that will outdo the star.
Absolutely.
So it's best to leave her out altogether.
Right.
And he said to me, have you ever thought that maybe they didn't choose her because she was too good?
Absolutely.
And I had thought it, but I wouldn't dare speak it, because I thought people would think she is crazy and she's off of her rocker. But when he said that to me, I shook my head,
When Jennifer Holliday jumped out there and did, and I am telling you, I'm not going, I just jumped up in my bed with my shoes on, because that is the kind of response you have to a voice like this. And she was just one of a cast of characters, but I don't remember anybody else.
Yes.
I'm sure that she was not the star. I don't remember anybody else. So didn't Jennifer Hudson lose American Idol?
Yes.
Right.
She
lost
it.
it.
Look at what resulted.
Look at where is she? So it apparently has not affected her. Apparently she is still confident.
One thing she says, and I do ask her, I said, when we enter different things, I said, what if you don't win? How would you feel? And her response is on to the next one.
Right.
Okay.
And I talk to her, and I always tell her, do not try to compare yourself to anyone. I said, the prettiest woman that you see, God created somebody prettier. The smartest person you know, there's somebody smarter. I say, and this gift God gave you, he didn't stop with you. There's another child out there that is better than you. I said, don't compare yourself to anyone. You just do your best and work on what God gave you. And so far, that's what she's been doing.
Well, she's been doing her best to deal with this allergy that makes her eyes tear up. She's been very brave all through this whole thing. Do you want to tell us anything? Should we know how you feel about all these things we're saying?
Well, I'm actually happy because a lot of people are interested in me,
Oh.
and I want to be famous. So this is my dream. I want to be famous. I want to be on TV.
Well, you are going to be famous. You already are famous in local circles, but you're going to be more famous than that. But don't lose sight on who you are, and don't lose sight on whose you are, because that's very important. Always remember that you are God's child, and your mother and your family loved you, and we love you, and you can always count on that, you know. So the world may not love you like we love you, but that's all right. Just know that you have all the love you need when you go into the world. So you don't need the love of the world. You just need the appreciation of the world, and you need the world not to be beat up on you too, because that's the other part of that show business thing. People say unkind things. You know, you read about these things, don't you? How they put out rumors on people and do stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but if there's any indication that you got somebody who has your back, I'm looking at your mom, and I know she's going to protect you every step of the way. You trust her? You think she's going to take care of you and protect you? Okay, and I trust you too. You got a support system, Mom, in place, or are you a one-man band?
I'm more of a one-man band, unfortunately.
Well, you need to reach out and let somebody help you with this, you know.
Well, I've met this good lady here.
Okay, okay.
Well,
And I've met a few other people that have said to me, I don't want anything from you, and I don't want anything from your daughter. I am who I am. I just want to help. And believe me when I tell you, I don't want a thing from you and your daughter. And I met an elderly couple that told me that months ago, and they have really been there for us and trying to help me put this show together at DuSable, and they say that the sky is the limit. Just tell me what you need.
Wonderful. You know, that's not an easy thing to do, to put on a show, because there's a lot of logistics involved in this. Have you ever done it before?
No.
Okay, well then you
But
need to.
there are a few people like Mr. Ranako Jahi from ETA.
Right.
That is going to give me some direction
Okay.
and some things. And I've met a few other people along the way
Okay.
that are excited about it
Okay.
and want to have input in the direction of the show.
Okay.
And it's not just a show that is going to have song after song after song. The show has some scenes in it
Mm-hmm.
built around a song.
Okay. Okay. Well, I can see that if you're including other young people, you know, then it means that
There are
you
no
will-
adults in the show.
No adults in the show.
No
This is a good idea, because we need showcases. We need to, you know, Dwayne Wade can't come in once every year and try to make up for the desert that exists between the times that he comes in and recruits our talent and identifies it and discovers them and gives them a platform. Yes, Deborah?
no, I just wanted to say, you know, as I'm listening to, you know, all the comments and whatever, she is going to get where she needs to be. This child deserves a world stage. She will get there. Everything you need is going to be in place for you to get there. The way you inspire people the people you need to get where you're going are going to do it, and they're going to do it freely. They're not going to be looking to benefit. They're not going to be trying to treat you like you know the story of the goose that laid the golden egg? They're not going to treat you like that because you are so special. You know, if you think of all the rest of the geese and then the one who could lay golden eggs, so your mom is going to protect you from all of that. But what I just really want to go back to, and that's mainly the reason why I came along, is just to say that you don't need America's Got Talent. You don't really need any of them because your community appreciates you to the point where you're going to get. We are going to see to it that you get where you need to be. Dwayne Wade, he did his part because he brought you to the attention of some others. Carol Adams and the DuSable Museum is doing their part, and I commend her as well because she is surely carrying out the legacy of Dr. Burroughs. And Dr. Burroughs was the founder of the museum. She was the one that helped to make sure I got where I was going. And that's what we need to do for each other. And that's what people are going to do for you. So you just worry about not getting so famous that you forget that you are a little girl and you forget to have fun. And you just worry about that part, and you worry about perfecting your talent, and let the grown-ups worry about what else is going to happen. You're going to be famous beyond anything you can imagine.
Well, I have one more minute, and in this 1 minute, I want to tell you that this is the first of the series called Young at Art, The Next Generation. The next show that I'm going to be doing is going to be with the Thomas Gentry and Mary Gentry, and they're going to perform on this show. And you are welcome to come back to watch them or to perform on the show as well. If you're not too busy, I don't want to, I don't want to burden you, but I want you to know that I want to keep up with you. I want you to be in the mix, and I want to know what's going on in your life. So how do you feel about that?
Good.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Maya.
The skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night